So we've had a question about the exam, because tomorrow is the multiple choice portion of the exam, and by multiple choice portion, I mean multiple choice, select all that apply, or any kind of matching types of questions. Basically, if I don't expect you to show your work, those are the kinds of questions on tomorrow's part. No, it'll be on paper. Yeah. All right. So there are 15 questions that are the multiple choice, select all that apply, matching. You guys will have the full class period, which is ballpark 45 minutes. So that's about 3 minutes per question. That should be plenty of time. Nobody should feel rushed about getting through this. 15 questions, and you have about 45 minutes to do it. So it's about 3 minutes per question. The short answer portion of the test, which is on Tuesday, there are 10 questions. And you have 90 minutes to complete that.
10 questions?
10 questions.
And 90 minutes?
90 minutes. That is the show your work portion of the exam, though. That is the portion where people generally tend to need more time.
Wait, so 9 minutes?
9 minutes per question. The goal here, and what we've been told from our partners at the Commission for Higher Education at the state level, because they're the ones who wrote the exam. I did not write this exam. I've been working really hard to make sure you guys are well prepared for it, but I didn't get to write it and I don't get to change it. They have emphasized over and over and over to every teacher in the state that teaches this course that they do not want to know what you can do in 90 minutes. They want to know what you can do. So that's why I'm splitting it up over 2 days, because Pike only gives me 90 minutes to give you a final exam. I don't want you guys rushed and stressed and not feeling like you have time to show everything that you know.
So we actually do have an exam tomorrow.
You have an exam tomorrow, yes. The multiple choice portion of the exam for this class is tomorrow. As you guys are studying, because you also have your 5th period final exam tomorrow. 5th period final exam and the multiple choice portion here. Things that I would focus on the review. If it is already set up as a multiple choice or a matching style question, it's probably on the multiple choice and matching portion of the exam. There's some questions in there that might be written as a, like, show me all your work, that show up on the multiple choice portion. Other hints and tips that I've given already, if you don't see it tomorrow, it's probably going to be on Tuesday. I did not pad this review with lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of extra practice in here. You can pretty much assume that if it's on the review, it is on one of the 2 portions of the exam. So far, so good?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
I think you've answered it in the past. Will the equations be on the test, or will we get a separate paper, or should we write it?
If I expect you to solve something using a specific equation, like say I want you to use quadratic formula and that's the only thing that will work, that will be given to you. Yes. You do not get a formula sheet, a reference page, a cheat sheet on the exam. Like, you can't use your notes on the exam. And again, that's not a me thing. That comes from way over anybody in this building. That's coming from the Indiana Department of Education and the Commission for Higher Education. Yes, ma'am. Another copy? Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Wait, is it on Canvas?
It is on Canvas as well, yes.
Then actually, I can just pull it up.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
So with both,
Yes.
Can we just go
right
for
now,
some?
right now I'm gonna like write the formulas and stuff. Are you not gonna write the formulas and stuff?
If you're expected to use a formula, it will already be on there.
Miss Ball, Miss Ball.
Yes.
You have a prep 5th period.
I do.
So you are free 5th period tomorrow.
I would love to be, but I am not necessarily. Because I have students that, in my other courses, that receive extra time, and so they'll be taking their exam in here during 5th period,
So I
starting
can't
tomorrow.
come down.
If you have a specific question, you could come down and ask me quickly, but I unfortunately won't be available to like study with the whole time.
Okay.
I wish I could.
No, it's okay.
All right. What would you guys?
How much is it worth of our grade? Isn't it 20%?
I think it's 20%. Let's check out the syllabus. Because honestly, I got too many courses in my head that I'm juggling. And so I like that it's linked.
The final is 20%?
Yes.
That's usually what it always is.
Yeah. Final exam is worth 20% of your overall course grade.
Is it like a lot?
It depends. Like, it's not gonna boost your grade like up a ton, but
But
like,
if you
it
get a
definitely
bad
can.
grade on it, it can bring it down.
Yeah.
Kevin
Like
is
that's the
here.
thing that sucks. Is like if you get a good grade on it, it's like okay, well, good job. But if you get a bad grade on it, it's like oh, your grade goes down.
Right.
Wow.
It just
I
depends.
I'll do one of those final grade calculators just in case you want to find out what it
Right.
All right. What do you guys want to see?
Can we go over some problems?
That's what I would love to do.
Number 2D.
Number 2, part D. Yes.
Or maybe the whole problem.
I can do that. Where are we at? Right here.
Go over the ones that you know will be on the test tomorrow. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Number 2. Kayleen and Hezekiah. They are going to host a 5K. A lot of times 5Ks are done as fundraisers for charity events. I'm assuming, even though it doesn't say that's what they're doing, that that's what's going on here. They have to pay the city to rent the roads because the city has to close all the roads down. They have to pay for, loss of income to the businesses. They have to pay the officers, whatever. Obviously, this city is being very nice and or it's very small and nobody uses the roads. Because they have to pay an upfront cost of $500. But they only have to pay that just once because it's just going to be shut down for that morning at the time of the 5K. What other costs are they going to incur?
So $7 per t-shirt for each of the participants.
$7 to get the custom t-shirt for each participant. That for each stands out to me. Why?
Because then every person
Yeah.
is really special.
That's telling me that this thing right here is my slope, my rate. So what about that 500 then?
That's your B bump.
That is our B value. This is our y-intercept, our initial or starting cost. All right, so we've been asked to write an equation in slope-intercept form that represents what?
Represents the cost of the
Represents the cost. So I'm going to write a cost equation. Do you guys remember when we did like the supply and demand lines? It's not exactly the same, but basically big idea is very similar here. It's going to cost them something, and then the people that want to participate are going to have to give them money. So they're going to have an income equation, and they're going to have a cost equation here. So this is our cost equation. What form should it be in? Yeah, y equals mx plus b. So y equals, what's the m here? 7. So y equals 7x plus 500. What does the slope represent in the context of the problem?
cost of shirts per person.
Yes. The increase, I'm going to say increase since it's positive, increase in cost of $7 for each participant. What does the y-intercept represent in the context?
How much they pay the city?
How much they paid the city to do what?
So use it right.
Yes. The one-time cost to rent the roads. right, A, B, C, not so bad, right? D and E, okay.
You gotta plug into the equation.
If Kayleen and Hezekiah charged $30 for each participant to be a part of their 5K, how many participants do they need to break even? What does it mean to break even?
Just once they get to zero.
Yeah, that cost would equal the income, right? We have an equation for the cost. Do we have an equation for the income? But what information do they give me in this problem that I didn't have before?
It's $30 per.
Yes, they're going to charge $30 for each participant.
But they charge us 7.
That's for the
That's
shirt.
for the shirt.
They have to pay $7 for the shirts, but the people that want to participate don't just pay $7.
Yeah.
They have to pay
To be
$30
in the race.
to be in the race.
That's what happens. But my dad and mom, that's what they do.
Yep. All right, so the income equation would be what? Y equals 30x. Because so far as we know, they have no starting money already saved up for their income. The only money that they're going to have in income is what they're collecting from the participants, right? And I want to know where that is the same as the equation up above. We're going to set them equal, yes.
Is that for D or for this one?
That's for, I'm still on part D, and that's for here, yes. 7x plus 500, that's my cost equation. I want to know where that is going to be the same as 30x, my income
You
equation.
subtract
Subtract what?
7x.
Subtract 7x from both sides.
23x equals
500, yep. And then divide by 23.
21.7.
So
probably
500 equals 23x. Sorry, let me catch up with you real quick. 500 equals 23x. You said divide by 23.
But they want to break even, don't they?
So x is about what?
21.2. Well,
21 point, you said 74.
22.
Can we have 0.74 of a person run this race?
All these are people, so it's
Yeah.
21.
21? Would they break even at 21?
No, they'd be over. So it would be 20.
Their costs would be a little bit higher if they only have 21 people sign up. But if they have 22 people sign up, they'll
Oh.
make a little bit of money.
Oh, yeah, so then you want 20.
So I would say 22 people.
How did you make it 22?
If I use 21, because I can't have 0.74 of a person.
Right.
X represents each person. We want the cost and the income to be the same. So if I think of cost for 21 people, because they have to pay that $500 even if it's just one person running. What is 7 times 21?
147.
147. So if they have 21 people sign up for this race, it's going to cost them $647 between the roads and the shirts. What would their income be for 21 people?
630.
I know. Would they have enough in income if only 21 people sign up to cover all of their cost? That's how I knew you had to round up. She asked how I knew to round up instead of round down. And so I was subbing it in with rounding down and seeing that the cost side of things is higher than the income side of things. Remember, they're trying to make money for their charity. If they have to pay money, they didn't make any money for their charity.
Wait. Why is 639 okay?
It's not that it's not okay, it's just that this number, this is what they're going to bring in to pay their bills. Because that's what the participants gave them.
And so then they.
That's how much they're going to have to pay for the roads and the shirts.
Okay.
So they'd be short $17. If they get one more runner,
They're good.
one more runner only costs them $7 more,
But they charge 30.
but they charge 30, so they'd have enough to cover all of their costs then. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We want the income side to be higher than the cost side.
Did you know there's this race and you have to have like one and at a certain time and like these 3 other longer races and they're like across the like country and then and to get in and then you have to like win a raffle to get in still like to, I don't remember what it's called but I was like it's really insane to get into and it's like 100 miles or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know of that particular one necessarily because I don't know the name of it, but I've heard of other ones like that. Like,
It's crazy.
yeah.
My
It
dad-
seems kind of funny that people would pay to run miles and miles and miles, but they do. I'm one of them.
My dad just did a
It
50 last
is.
weekend. He liked it.
It can be really overwhelming at times, but it's probably one of my favorite ways of competing because there's other people around, but nobody's really racing against anybody else except for the like 10 people at the front.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody else, and I was not by them, everybody else is like more racing against themselves.
Yeah.
Can I do it?
In
Do I
my
have what it
time,
takes?
yeah.
Can I break a personal record? And so you still get that like all the pumped up feelings of competing, but where everybody around you is also cheering for you, not against you. So
Yeah, it's nice, and the people at the aid stations are so nice, and then like the families that are there are nice too.
yes,
Yeah.
and I love the signs that get held up.
Yeah,
They crack me up. All right, we got one last part to this question.
So don't we sub in the 45 to the cost equation, but then see how much for the.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't-
we need to sub it into both equations because I need to know how much it's going to cost them if that's this many people sign up, and I need to know how much they're going to have in income. All right, so on the cost side of things,
Oh wow.
cost for 45 people, I'm going to have 7 times 45 plus 500. How much would it be for just the shirts, the 7 times 45?
I don't know.
315.
$315 for the t-shirts, plus $500 for the roads. It's going to cost them $815 to put on this race for 45 people. Now let's look at the income side.
It's 45. Wait, which one are you doing?
I'm doing the income right now.
So then do 30 times 45, and you'll get 1,350.
1,350.
And then you subtract 815 from there.
So would it be a profit or a loss?
It'll be a profit. They made $535 in profit, and how I know that is because I subtracted the income from the cost. Wait, did I say
$1,350 is the income.
So they subtracted income from cost or cost from income? Like
Think about it
says
this way.
how do you know?
Which one has money coming into you, so your balance goes up? Which one is taking money away from you, so you would have to subtract it from your balance?
So outcome over.
Yes, income minus cost.
Wait, so profits minus.
This will give me my profit and or my loss. If it comes out to be positive, I'm going to have a profit. If it comes out to be negative, I'm going to have a loss.
Profit minus cost.
Income minus cost. I would use words like net and gross, except I always get those confused because I was not a business major. So I'm not going to do that because I'll probably mess it up again. So we get what?
$35.
$535 in profit.
And you know that because you subtracted the
Yes.
income minus the cost.
Can we do number 1?
Number 1, absolutely we can do number 1.
Oh yes, please, because these are hard.
No, we'll get into
So I had training for this course on Tuesday after school this week.
Why?
Because usually there's only one teacher at each school that teaches this class. And so when a teacher first gets told, hey, you're going to teach prime math, they're like, great, what's prime math? And they're like, no, nobody else here teaches it. So we have a statewide group that gets together and kind of talks about best practices and how to support our learners and all that stuff. So that's what this meeting was. But they started us off with like, it's not bell work, but it was bell work, because people were joining the Zoom, like, here's something for you guys to work on. And they were giving us ones like this. I was loving it, and I was the fastest.
Of course you are.
Yeah, it's not fun. You guys explain to us. Or you already did, but re-explain it.
Okay.
Re-explain.
We want to find the number of tiles that go into the 65th figure here. Since that's too far out in this pattern for me to just keep drawing it out, I could do that, but it's going to take me forever. So I would like to try to identify some patterns that I could use so that I don't have to draw out every single one. Is there anything that you notice as you're looking at these three that is staying the same each time?
The two pink ones.
Yep, those two purpley pink ones. Those are just always kind of added on, right?
Yeah.
How can I represent that?
Plus 2.
+2. So +2. Because here, the first one in my pattern, it's something +2. Second one in my pattern, it's something +2. And the third one in my pattern, something +2. All right, so from here on out, as I'm talking about things that change and things that stay the same, I'm ignoring those two purple blocks because we already wrote down that +2. So I'm going to ignore that part from here on out.
It's like adding.
I'm going to start with the third one, and I'm going to kind of work my way backwards here. Is there anything that you notice visually?
Is that what you're supposed to do still with the last one?
No, not necessarily.
But does it help?
Sometimes. I'll tell you why in a minute why I'm starting there. Look at these three patterns, ignoring those two purple blocks. What do you notice about the shape of these?
It's like a square.
They're squares, right? Every single one of these makes a square. Did you guys actually count each individual little square on the third one?
No, I just looked at the 3x3. It's not.
You looked at the 3x3 and you knew it was 9.
Right.
I like that. 3x3. When you say 3x3, what are you doing?
It's 3 across and 3 up and down.
And so what did you do to know it was 9, though? What did you do? You multiplied it.
Why-
So I wrote that in the wrong
I was
spot.
gonna say, we put it there.
Sorry, wrong spot. Let me get it over in the right spot here. So 3x3 plus 2. I started with that one because a lot of times on this one, people will just count that block. And even on this one,
It's in a 2x2.
it's a 2x2.
But how is it 2 times 2? You recount. Oh, I guess you
Yep.
recount it on the. Okay.
Yeah. This one would then be a
1 by 1.
1 by 1. Because again, I'm wanting to try to establish a pattern that I can use as I move forward here. 1 by 1 plus 2, a 2 by 2 plus 2, a 3 by 3 plus 2. Where did I say this fell in my pattern? It's the first one. And it's a 1 by 1.
Then 2. Oh, then 4 by 4, 5 by 5, 6 by 6, 7 by 7.
Yes!
Oh,
We're going to end up with a 65 by 65 plus 2. So one of the other things that I could do if I'm wanting to write an expression for this, wherever I'm at in the pattern, like if I call that n, I can do n by n plus 2. If I multiply a number by itself, we're squaring it. So this is the same thing as n squared plus 2. And you said for the 65th one in this pattern, I would do 65 by 65
Plus 2.
plus 2. So when I go to pop that in my calculator, I can do 65 squared plus 2. Or you can do 65 times 65 plus 2.
4,227.
You said 4,227.
Yep.
That's how many tiles we would need.
I remember there were like two different kind of questions on when we did the test, right?
Mhm.
So on the test, it's just gonna be this one.
There will because your final exam covers the entire year, there's probably not going to be more than 1 or 2 questions from each unit that we studied. And so, like, this was something that we talked about in Unit 1, but we also talked about other concepts in Unit 1. So I would think it's unrealistic to have more than one question like this.
I know, but like it was just like a different kind of the same question.
So when we talk about different kinds, the big idea still holds as far as like I want to establish a pattern, something that's staying the same. If I had seen that like this one had 3 blocks, this one had 5 blocks, this one had 7 blocks, and then 9 blocks, I would see, oh, it's just wherever I'm at in the pattern, and then 2 more each time. Here, my +2 doesn't mean 2 more, because the more is coming from here. This is the part getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This is just +2. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If you see a pattern where they keep adding on and they keep adding the same number each time, when we add the same amount each time, that's a linear pattern. And so we can shortcut that by saying, well, how much are you adding each time? 2, 3, 5. I'm going to take that and multiply that by where I'm at in my pattern, because that's how many times I would have added this on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, you may.
Okay. 2 questions. One question is, can you go over number 18?
Number 18,
And
absolutely.
Then, do you think well, if we have time, do you think we could set up just set it up for a couple other problems? So like we don't have to solve it here, but can we just set it up?
Yeah, and I think I shared with you guys the other day the things that have like happened at my family that have been very sad. But I do have I've got 1 question left on my answer key, and then I'm posting the answer key. So it'll be up before 4 o'clock today.
Did the other classes do any of these so we can avoid those ones?
Yes, so I posted a video yesterday from both class periods, so you're welcome to watch, on fast forward, the 3rd period video.
Can you do that? Can you speed up the speed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you click on the little gear wheel, you can put it on double speed. One of the other ways to know whether or not I talked about any of the questions that you want is if you go through the slide presentation and you're like, yeah, we did that one, yeah, we didn't do that one, then it's probably on the other video. So that would be another way of knowing, if there's a question that's in the slides.
Okay, we did this. Oh, this is what we just did.
Yeah.
So you did the first one already.
I did the first one in 3rd period yesterday. And there was another example because they asked to see another one with a pattern like that.
I see.
So you could see another example problem like that.
Okay. And you did 2.
All right, this one's a great one. I like this one.
4, you did 5.
All right,
Thank you.
so our map has a scale of 0.75 inches to 90 miles. So that means on the map, if I hold my ruler up, anything that I measure that is 3/4 of an inch in real life is actually 90 miles apart.
One more time.
Yep. 75 inches on the map is equal to 90 miles in real life. So I can use this idea to set up a proportion because these things are equal. I can set up a proportion that lets me convert from map to real life. So I could set up my proportion as 0.75 inches over 90 miles. Or, depending on how I'm wanting to do this or what I'm wanting to convert, I could use a proportion of 90 miles over 0.75 inches. And I will show you how you decide which one you want. Question A. I want to know how many miles there are in 1 inch.
So you do miles over inches.
Yes. This is what I want. And so that's going to go in my numerator. So 1 inch times, which one of these had miles on top?
90 over 1.
Yes. And I'm going to include the units here. 90 miles over 0.75 inches. Because I can take any whole number and turn it into a fraction, right? I can put it over what?
1.
Over 1. How do we multiply fractions together? Straight across, like this. If I have the same thing, but one in the numerator and one in the denominator, what happens? It cancels. So inches here will cancel with inches on the bottom here. And only the units that I want are left. So now I'm going to multiply straight across. Yep. We said that what we want needed to go on top, right? They gave me 1 inch, so I put that here. I put what I wanted on top. When I have the same thing on the top and the bottom of a fraction, like 5 over 5, it cancels out and makes a 1. That's true with units, not just numbers as well. So inches on top and inches on bottom, those will cancel out. And that leaves me with just miles for my units.
Oh,
How do we know we have to put like 90?
Don't we cross multiply?
Because we wanted it.
Yep, we wanted miles. So these are the two proportions that I have to choose from because these are the things that are equal. 75 or 0.75 inches on the map is equal to 90 miles in real life. So I can make my proportion with either one of those on top, and I decide which one goes on top in my problem based on what I want. What I want is top. Multiply straight across. 1 times 90 is what?
How do you know to
90.
multiply straight across rather than multiply cross multiply?
The only time you can cross multiply is when there's an equal sign between them.
Oh, okay. That.
Yep.
Okay, so
And actually, because of that confusion, I almost always avoid cross multiplying. Because I want you guys to look at two fractions. How do we multiply those? Straight across. So I have 90 over 0.75. What are the units I have? Miles. The inches canceled out. So then I grab my calculator. I do 90 divided by 0.75. We get 120 miles.
I thought it was. Never mind.
You want to try the next one?
Yes.
Okay. What do I want this time?
Inches over miles.
Yes, this time I want inches.
Wait, can we do like the bigger numbers? Besides just one?
Let's do this one together, and then you guys do the next two, and I'll tell you what the answers are so you can check them.
Okay.
So you have a chance to do them on your own. All right, so I have 1 mile. I'm going to multiply that by, what should this proportion look like?
0.75 inches over 90 miles.
Yes, 0.75 inches over 90 miles. Anything can turn into a fraction by putting it over 1. What's going to cancel?
Miles.
Miles cancels. Multiply straight across.
Yeah, 0.75.
0.75 divided by 90, and that will give me inches.
0.0083 p.
What kind of units would that have? Inches. Why is it so small?
Because it's inches over miles, not miles over inches.
Yeah. And they're also saying, remember what they told us in the beginning? In the beginning, they said that on this map, 3/4 of an inch, not even a whole inch, represents 90 miles. What I just found is how far on my ruler I would measure for just 1 mile.
Okay, now we can try
Yep.
the rest on our own.
Try the next 2 on your own. And I will tell you what the actually, I'm going to put the final answers up here so that you guys can look up and check yours against mine. Okay? Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So 2.
This is the map scale, 2 inches here. This will always be either this one or that one. You don't get to change the numbers here, because this is like the little legend on the map. So you have to have these numbers in this proportion. This value is what you want to convert. This is what they give you.
Sorry.
No, you're
Getting
fine.
confused, but which one is quadratic and which one is exponential?
With quadratic, there's a couple different things that you could look for. In a table, you can look for constant second differences. So it's not linear, but when you take the first differences and you compare those, then it's the same. Funny thing, that's because of calculus. Like that, but that's why we don't get into the whys, but it works because calculus. But that's why we can use that shortcut trick. The other thing you can think about is just about anything that moves around on Earth. If it's not staying on the ground, if it goes into the air or under the water, it's going to have a quadratic pattern to it. Because gravity, it's going to send it back down. Things that are underwater, unless they are water-breathing things, eventually have to resurface. So you're going to have a U-shaped pattern here, or things that you throw in the air are going to have a U-shaped pattern. Exponentials, you are multiplying by the same thing over and over and over and over and over.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mm-hmm.
This one. It's 900 miles.
Mm-hmm.
90
Mhm.
miles. 0.75
What do you want to change it into?
miles.
No, they gave you a number for miles.
Inches.
You want to change it into inches. So take this guy, flip it over. We got about 5 minutes left. Is there anything in particular that you guys still wanted to see? I have time for probably one more problem.
What do you think?
21.
21.
Wait, Nasiba, wait, Miss,
Yes, ma'am.
did you already go over that? It's not on the slides. It's not on on today.
21, I don't believe I have yet.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I don't want it to be repetitive.
Fair enough. Oh, yeah. No, I have not gone over this one yet. Stop it. Okay. Jaden is setting up a new habitat for his lizards. Yay. His gecko lives currently in a 30-gallon tank that gets 2.8 kilograms of substrate in it. Do you guys know what substrate is?
No.
It's like the stuff on the ground.
Oh, like that pebble stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, so that they're not just on the glass bottom slipping around. It's supposed to be to make it feel like home, right?
Imagine that'd be like crazy.
Yeah, so the substrate is their environmental ground. He just bought a new larger tank for his lucky lizard, and for his iguana, and he put 5 kilograms of substrate in it. I want to know which tank is substratier. Which one has a higher ratio of substrate? So what I'm asking for here, gentlemen, higher ratio of substrate for each gallon. Which one has a higher proportion? All right, so let's look at the current tank. What?
We're supposed to write a proportion.
Yep. For the current tank, if I want to know the ratio of substrate for each gallon, I need gallons on the bottom and substrate on the top. How much substrate is in the current tank?
5 kilograms.
Not the new tank.
Oh,
30
sorry.
gallons.
That's okay. It's a 30-gallon tank with how much substrate in it? 2.8.
2, sorry.
That's okay. Kilograms of substrate over 30 gallons. Grab your calculator and we're going to divide those two numbers, because this is going to give me the ratio.
0.094 repeating.
0.094
No,
repeating. 3 repeating?
Sorry.
sorry.
3.
Okay,
Wait,
it's 3 repeated.
4, 3? Is there a 4 in there?
There's no 4.
No.
Okay,
I just said
that's okay. I
was
just
like,
want to make sure I'm writing down the right thing. This is kilograms of substrate per gallon. All right, let's talk about the new tank now. How much substrate went into the new tank?
55 grams.
5 kilograms of substrate over a 55-gallon tank.
That's 0.09. Both of those numbers are repeating.
All right, so I'm going to write it down like this. That's kilograms of substrate for each gallon or per gallon.
Wait, so the 90 does repeat, right?
Yes. 0.9090909 forever, ever,
Put
ever.
it over that, a line over it.
Yeah, I probably should. There we go.
So the top one is more?
So yeah.
By like
So
The
current tank or new tank, which one is more full of substrate?
The current.
Current tank.
Even though it looks like the new one is, it has 5 kilograms. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
they put more substrate in it, but it's a larger tank. And it's not off by a lot.
Yeah, it's
But the current tank, more of it is full proportionally than the new tank.
Is that something that would like affect your whatever you have in the place? Like certain creatures need more or less?
Yes, yes. Or like different aquariums. Like saltwater aquariums are notoriously difficult to maintain because you need to keep the amount of salt in the water at a certain level, because if it's too salty, the fish can't live there. And if it's not salty enough, the fish can't live there. And so you have to test it to make sure that it stays within this window. Yeah.
I remember watching a YouTube video and this girl was talking about her like really bad experience raising fish, and that was one of the problems she had. They kept dying because it was off slightly.